need is not money or diamond or whatever, because you can't consume money, you can't consume diamond by themselves. You can't just eat $10 bill and then get like digestion out of it.
No.
And you can't like eat diamond when you need food, right?
Yeah.
So the reason they've been so desired after is because the society has pegged all of our
intrinsic value on
the
it.
society has pegged all of our needs in relation to these platforms, in relation to these mediation forms. But you see, these mediation forms are deeply manipulated. If they were not manipulated and you can print as many diamonds as you want, you can print as many copies of dollar bills as you want, it's one thing. But the fact is, the printing of the dollar bills has been like tempered with. There's only so many people that can print. You know, you can't, nobody else can just go and say, well, you know, if I want to...
Because it undervalues the currency.
Well, there's a lot of issues with the currency in itself that's like not so. I'm like, we have to have a different discussion on that, because, you know, I don't feel like I'm a total expert in it, but I do know enough that there's enough manipulation just in the currency, because imagine, you know, the world starts to get more population and there's just more demands and things are, you know, floating around and stuff. You can't just go and then print money. Like, I can't just go to my backyard and then, you know, get a machine to print like, you know, $100,000 because I just want to build a house and I got to get somebody to build it for me, right? Yeah. So now, because of the lack of this kind of commodity to commodity exchange by themselves, you actually cannot just get somebody down the street to come and fix your house for you. You have to get money to get them to fix it for you. So if imagine like, you didn't have money and then some guy down the street was just fixing for you, but somehow through this fixing, they know they were incurring some goodwill credit that somewhere in the universe, somebody is going to fulfill their needs. Like, they needed to get their car fixed, but they're not going to be able to get it from you because you're not a car dealer, right?
Or a mechanic.
But someone else in Kansas, for example, just happens to have an extra car they don't need. So what if they saw your goodwill credit and they say, oh man, this guy is pretty decent, I'm just going to give him my car for a certain amount of, for nothing, for example. You know, why not? Because the whole point is we have to start recognizing there's goodwill. What is getting circulated is a goodwill kind of sharing energy, and that sharing energy is the one that has to get honored, and we have to bypass this one-on-one mutual exchange demand. We have to understand the sharing of the energy is only most efficient when it's done at a non-person denomination level. That, you know what, when you do something for me, I may not be the right one to fulfill your needs, but someone else may be the one to fulfill your needs. So through this kind of non-person denomination, you actually have a more flexible flow of energy in the universe. And it takes enough of critical mass of people that trust that this thing can work and start operating it at whatever level they can operate, for other people to jump in and then have that confidence. Because right now, you know, very few people would like pitch in to do this, because very few people are actually involved in any kind of collective community that is done, that do things on a cherishing other people sharing basis, that understand the selfless nature of all phenomena, that, you know, different people are mere names in this continuum of consciousness, you know, and then getting, you know, if I do something for you and yet I get the payback from somebody totally different, it's just the same. Yeah. Because, you know, so why should I care if I'm getting it from you or someone else, right? But the way the economy is structured now, and this whole expectation-based right there and then demand is restricting our ability to fulfill each other's needs, not actually increasing. You see? So this is what really needs to change in our economy, and it has to, enough people have to start modeling this in a real life pattern to have people understand this is realizable, that this that what the spiritual teaching teaches about when you give without expectation, you will actually receive much more, is a much better system than what we have now. That is actually what needs to happen, you see? So, and the reason why that model eventually is going to go out of the money system is because you realize actually what people are doing for each other is primarily just energy exchange. You know, sometimes the energy exchange takes place in the form of material possessions, you know, a car, a house, or something. But a lot of times it's just a pure energy transference, like a conversation about something that suddenly bypass many expenditures because you suddenly realize at a consciousness level you simply don't need them. You know, and those things have so much value in them that you can't calculate them easily. You know, and I honestly think the next quantum leap for our humanity is to realize most of the energy can be grouped and peaked in such condensed ways that it bypasses a lot of the clumsiness associated with materialism. Because another thing I realize is ultimately, you know what people are buying? They're buying states of feelings. They're buying states of happiness and states of feelings. You know, when you drive a car, you're essentially wanting to have a certain state of ease and a certain state of happiness. When you're like buying things for your kids, you're really wanting to show your love. But actually a lot of times that, you know, if we sit down to a meditation or just hang around with certain group of people that care, you get that energy transference right there. It's a lot. You don't have to go slave yourself for 8 hours a day to work to get money so you can go to Walmart or go wherever to buy something just to get that bit of a feeling.
And even then, when you're buying, like to use your example with the kid,
yeah,
like when you're buying something for your, like say for example, you're buying something for your child, you're not buying a thing necessarily for your child. You're buying the joy and the happiness in the child's face, in the child's eyes, in the child's emotion from receiving that wish that they so desired and the joy that it brings.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think that's another quantum leap. The first quantum leap is to understand when we exchange, we really shouldn't demand things right there and then from a particular person. And if you wind up having some kind of currency, like a love currency, that is now manipulated by some central government, by a few elites that decide to, like, you know, adjust the interest rate, which then affects the production and the supply and the consumption level of people. If you just had like some kind of love currency that was completely neutral and all it was doing was facilitating the exchange, but it's not, nobody's centralized, it's printing it, right? I think that'll make a huge difference. So that, and then realizing you can get exchange needs fulfilled by really different people from different places, and that's the same thing as, you know, as what a money as a medium, as a certain medium-based economy is trying to do. Because what money is trying to do is to try to facilitate that fluidity. It's trying to say the person that you're doing business with is not going to be able to meet all your needs, so they're giving you a certain value.